I believe we had a coin toss just a few minutes ago, and Mr. Taw, candidate Taw, won the coin flip. So you now have 2 minutes to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, everyone. First, I'd like to thank Rossmoor Homeowners Association for giving all of us an opportunity to present ourselves, our platform, and our idea, our policy in the future if we got elected. First, I'd like to introduce myself. I am Stweart Jody. I was born in Saigon, Vietnam. I came to this country in 1992. At the time, I was 19 years old. My family and I, we came here as political refugees. My father, who was imprisoned by the communist regime for many years. So after he was released, U.S. government had a program to sponsor my family and I to come here. So we came here in 1992. So after I came here, I'd like to mention that I came here in a process. It really took my family and I 12 years in the process to come here. After I came here, went to school, I got a degree in political science. And after I finished school, I went back to community in Westminster. I just want to give back to the community. I just want to give back to the country that I think that gave me a really great opportunity to be successful. And 16 years ago, many members in the community, they came to me, they asked me to run for office. So I did, and I got elected on Westminster City Council 16 years ago. And 10 years ago, there was an opportunity for me to run for mayor, and I did. So I became the first Vietnamese American elected mayor in the nation. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody. First and foremost, just want to say thank you to Rossmoor Homeowners Association for hosting tonight that candidate forum. My name is Diedre Nguyen. I am currently Mayor Pro Tem for City Garden Grove, your neighbor city. A little bit about myself. I came here when I was 9 as a refugee. I was both people. My dad was the South Vietnamese Marines. He was sent to prison for 8 years after 1975, and he came. We both escaped Vietnam, and we came here. I first landed in Orange County, John Way Airport 36 years ago. I attend our public school. I'm a part of public school in the district. Through the middle school, high school, I graduated from UC Irvine as a pre-med. I was a little rebel myself. My parents wanted me to be doctors, but I decided to go into research. My background is in genetics. I work as a cancer research scientist by trade. I first time ran for office in 2016 for the Garden Grove City Council, and won the election by 62% of vote. I wear multiple hats in the community. I am a community organizer because I come from a family of human rights activists, my dad, so I follow his steps as a community organizer. I work to represent the community in terms of nonprofit organizations. I mentoring youth organizations from in high school and college, and also I'm also talk show host for multiple ethnic media outlets, because I believe in representing the community and having media is a powerful resource to serve our community. Thank you.
We'll start our questions. We will be alternating which candidate goes first. And with this first question, candidate Nguyen, we'll start with you. Let me read the question. This year, there was a major nationwide redistricting effort aimed at serving our underrepresented populations and ethnicities. In fact, many of our existing district lines were shifted, and we now have both different boundaries and representation. Would you speak to the issues of diversity, inclusion, and give an example of how you plan to represent the many different needs and interests of our community?
Yes, I believe in inclusive. I believe in representation matter, because as a council member for City Garden Grove and Mayor Pro Tem for City Garden Grove, we have a very diverse community. We have 40% of AAPI community, we have 30% Latino, and we have 30% Caucasian. So for us, we have, at the dais, we have very diverse council members as well. And this regards what party, we actually work very well because our background and our strong background of working together as a community as a whole. A little bit about, I share my experience. Back in 2016, when Garden Grove first time going to district election, I was the one involved during the mapping selection for district election, because I believe in map choose the right map, involve all community to have a fair representation across the board. That's what I believe. And because of that, I was working with the Vietnamese community, Latino communities, and other community together to choose the map. And we're lobbying for that map, and at the end, 5 council members back then would unanimously select that map. And it became the map for today, to have 7 members of Grand Council. That's what my track record, because I believe in inclusive, no matter who you are, no matter what background you come from, no matter what religion you are, we as a member of our community, and that's what I hold very strongly.
Candidate Todd, this year, there was a major nationwide redistricting effort aimed at serving our underrepresented populations and ethnicities. In fact, many of our existing district lines were shifted, and we now have both different boundaries and representation. Would you speak to the issues of diversity and inclusion and give an example of how you plan to represent the many different needs and interests of our community?
Really appreciate the question. So the question is really, really the issue that we have been discussed for years. In reality, that the city of Westminster, my city, we're really diverse. We have heavily Vietnamese American community. We have Latino American community. We have Caucasian community. And for the issue of what redistrict, whatever redistrict, I truly believe that as elected official, we need to serve all the community equally, because that is the mission of all the elected officials. The elected official, we got elected by the people, so we're serving the people. And I think that in the U.S. Constitution, everyone equal, men are equal. So I think that is, I consider that's one of the basic foundation for all of us. We came here, came here from different background, came here from different country, different community, but at the end of the day, who that we respond, who that we provide the service, the people, the community that live in our district. I've been working really well with everyone in every community. I respect the culture, different community, because I think that is written pretty well in U.S. Constitution. I strongly support our U.S. Constitution. And if we all read U.S. Constitution, that's a perfect life document. Everyone is equal. So we need to serve everyone equally. We need to give everyone the same opportunity. So we're here to serve. We elected by the people, and we're serving the people.
Thank you.
Our next question concerns homelessness, and candidate Ta will answer first, and then candidate Nguyen. Homelessness is a complicated issue and has become systemic in our society, affecting the mental health of those impacted. The social and cognitive abilities of people without stable housing is exacerbated by homelessness. What will you do to improve the availability of sustainable housing and ancillary services to minimize the homelessness issue?
Just happened last night in the Westminster City Council. We approved one of the budget for navigation center. That is the project. That's the mutual project of Garden Grove, Westminster, and Fan Valley. So now we're all aware that issue of homelessness is really complicated. No one could able to solve the problem by himself or by herself. This is a long process. We need to have support from the state. We need to have the blessing from the federal and all the local agencies. We need to work together, because right now the issue of homelessness involved with many other issues, mental issue, unemployment issue, and you talk about a mental issue, how to treat people with depression, family, personal issues. So everyone have different circumstance. And the government, also provide the shelter, but at the same time, we just want to make sure that we have the process, we have the treatment process, or we make sure that the person really motivated to get a job, to get out of homelessness. So that is a really long and really complicated issue. But the solution is all the agency. We need to understand the funding, and we need to use the funding efficiently. We cannot, only build shelter and, we are not providing any other services. So the shelter is good, but however, we need to have another treatment, another process, and we need to coordinate all agency. All agency need to get involved. Non-profit organization need to get involved. Many faith-based organizations need to get involved. So all together, we need to get involved.
Candidate Nguyen, I'll reread the question again for your answer. Homelessness is a complicated issue and has become systemic in our society, affecting the mental health of those impacted. The social and cognitive abilities of people without stable housing is exacerbated by homelessness. What will you do to improve the availability of sustainable housing and ancillary services to minimize the homelessness issue?
Thank you for the question. In terms of homelessness, it's a complicated issue, no doubt about it. I just want to give you an example. City Garden Grove, a couple of months ago, a couple of years ago, we've been talking about navigation center long ago. For the past 2 years, we have tried hard to identify location in City Garden Grove, and we were able to find an ideal location to build a navigation center. So a couple of months ago, we decided to move forward with the project, and we tried to find funding. And City Garden was the first one to initiate the site to build a navigation center. Once we identified the site, we actually reached out to different cities. We reached out to Fountain Valley, Stanton, and Westminster to collaborate in building the navigation center together, because city alone, we're not rich city. So we cannot, once you build it, you need to have funding, sustainability for long-term services. So City Garden will reach out to those neighbor cities to say, hey, let's work together. Let's have a navigation center, one navigation center sharing, so we can share the cost. And we did that. A month ago, City Garden was finalized. The City Council vote moved forward. And then yesterday, thank you, Mayor Chita, for voting on that, on the last budget for the navigation center together. Now, what can we do for navigation center? I just want to follow up with Councilmember Kim Carr about BWOC. Huntington Beach was the first one to start with BWOC. Garden Grove was second, because we believe in not just providing shelter, but providing services to help those need the treatment and for long-term commitments, so they can come back to our community as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Third question, and we'll start with candidate Nguyen. Over the years, the issue of Rossmoor incorporation has come before the community. It has always been soundly rejected. The issue of governance is now being brought back again by a small group within Rossmoor. What is your position regarding Rossmoor incorporation and the current attempts to expand the latent powers of the RCSD, the Rossmoor Community Services District, to include public safety without first placing an issue of such consequence before the community for a formal ballot measure vote?
Well, one of the words I cut from your question is small group. I believe when you want to change something, you have to be transparent. You have to take input from the community. Because I can give you an example of City Garden Grove. When we decide on something, we have a lot of session open community input, because it's our community as a whole. What we want to see every day in our community, what we want to see when we walk down the street, what the ordinance is going to help our community. That's what I believe in wholehearted. And in order to do that, every one of us need to have a voice, not just small group. I don't believe in small group. I always call myself, I am community organizer, because everything I do is community input as a whole. And I can tell you my experience for many as a city council or before that, just like a redistricting or even the districting, we had so many community meetings to get every single constituent give us input, online or offline, phone call. We even do a lot of survey because we believe that one voice for all, or all for one out for together as community. So no matter what, I support local control. I support the voice of our community. So as your representative in the state, I want to hear from you. And I'm very transparent. Open door policy is a must. And that's what I want to hear from all of you. I want to make sure we have input from every one of you. Thank you.
Candidate Ta, over the years, the issue of Rossmoor Incorporation has come before the community. It has always been soundly rejected. The issue of governance is now being brought back again by a small group within Rossmoor. What is your position regarding Rossmoor Incorporation and the current attempts to expand the latent powers of the RCSD, Rossmoor Community Services District, to include public safety, without first placing an issue of such consequence before the community for a formal ballot measure vote?
First, I have to say very honestly, Rossmoor is a beautiful community, many beautiful homes. Why I said that? Because in the last primary, I did work door to door in Rossmoor. Beautiful home, the people really nice, really polite. I feel so appreciative. I feel so thankful every time the person open the door and give me the welcome, give me an opportunity. And that's what I learned from Rossmoor community. I think the people, they want to have a saying in anything. Rossmoor community, I think majority of Rossmoor community want to be independent. So that's why I learned a lot by knocking door to door. I understand. So the issue like that, I let the resident of Rossmoor decide, because any direction, any policy, they must have the will of the people. And it's up to the will of the people who live in Rossmoor. Whatever they want to be, whatever district or whatever, I totally respect that. Rossmoor is a beautiful community. I work door to door and I feel like I feel my energy. I feel my energy because the homeowner, they keep their home so beautiful. So that gives me the confidence of this community is really strong, really healthy, and really independent.
Thank you.
Our next question concerns the drought. Candidate Ta, we're faced with a possibly catastrophic drought in California right now. What steps will you take to ensure our water supply and share of available water are maintained for all California residents?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I appreciate that. As some of you are aware, I also elected director on Orange County Water District. I had the honor to serve on that Orange County Water District for the last 4 years. So in my Orange County Water District, I am representing the people who live in Rossmoor. So drought is a critical issue that the state of California, we always, facing, and especially for the last several years. So we see that. Water conservation is one of the options that our city has been doing. And we're talking about water conservation. City of Westminster, we won the award a few years ago for the city with us saving the most water in the state, in the nation. That's why we got an award, I think, in 2018. So water conservation. However, the state of California, we need to provide a plan. We need to come up with a plan in advance. So all the city will all be repaired. We cannot wait until the drought hit us and then we come up with a policy. It's not going to be that way. I also learned, as a mayor, also learned that there are the little fish in the north. So people, they try to keep that environment, but at the same time, we have to deal with shortage of water. So I hope in the future, the lawmaker in Sacramento, they need to come up with a really good solution and let the people have a saying, all the local agency have a saying in the process to come up with a good solution.
Candidate Nguyen, the same question for you. We are faced with the possibility of a catastrophic drought in California right now. And what steps will you take to ensure our water supply and the share of available water are maintained to all California residents?
Thank you. Well, let's face it, we are a drought, no matter what. We haven't seen rain for a while. The last rain was just few drops. I think conserving water is each of us responsibility, not just one. We cannot just blame one and not the others. It's each of us, because the lawmaker is us. It's from the community. And at the same time, we have been talking about this for years, and yet we drag our feet. I had to say that because as a scientist myself, when I do my research paper, we have a project, we have timeline, we have deadline, we have this, and I had to see a lot of talk, but no action. It was dragging feet. There's a program of desalination, there's a lot of alternative, and yet we didn't do our part. So for moving forward, we identify the issue, we need to act on it. Right now we have some alternative, the governor has working on some of the plan. Let's look at alternative, let's look at these things outside the box and open mind. I actually went to the desalination station in Dana Point. I actually have a tour there. I'm impressed with what they have. We have to look at those because we cannot shuffle under the carpet anymore. We need water. Water is a fundamental of life. And at the same time, the conservation is coming from each of us. And I want to make sure we moving quickly. This is called urgency. Thank you.
Following the same order we did for the introductions, will you please provide a conclusion for up to 2 minutes, starting with candidate Ta?
Yeah, I'm so honored to be here, and I want to thank you for your time, for giving me a good opportunity to explain myself, to come up with a solution if I got elected in Sacramento. I'm running for state assembly because I want to lower the cost of living. I want to make sure that I'm the voice of the middle class. I want to reduce regulation from the state of California, so all the businesses have opportunity to grow. I want to fight crime. We are aware that the state of California have AB 109, Proposition 47, 57, that bad law release criminal earlier. So that's why right now almost 500 cities in California had to suffer with the increase of crime. So I just want to make sure that I will bring that down. I fight for the middle class. I fight for affordability, fight for issue of homelessness. I think that we are aware that for the last 2 decades, politics in Sacramento not healthy. 60 member Democrat, only 19 member Republican. We need to have some balance. I understand we need to have some balance. We need to have check and balance. So we need to make sure that we got elected in Sacramento. We understand where we're coming from. We understand the people in our community. Fight for middle class, lower cost of living, fight for lower tax. So we just need to repeal gas tax. Look at the gas price right now in the state of California. That's really, really high. We need to bring that down. Thank you.
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for your time tonight. All of you sacrificed your time for a few hours on Thursday night. Thank you so much. One of the reasons why I run for office from the medical field to run for office is to serve our community. My motto is, less talk, more action, gain trust. It's about trust. It's not about party line. Let's put it that way. It's about our community first. I grew up in the community. We work hard for our community. We want to make the community a better place for not just us, but for our kids. I'm a mother of 3. I have 3 rascals, 3 boys, and I want to have a community healthy, safe for them. I am the only candidate get endorsed by the police and by the firefighter, because to me, public safety is also something that I held highly. I want to make sure we have a healthy environment for our kids, for our grandkids. Actually, let's go back a little further. For my mom, who actually is senior right now, for my kid and my grandkids. And that's what it's not about the party line. It's not about whether you're Republican or Democrat. It's about a member of our community, your neighbor, your mom, your mom's friend, my kid mother, and dad. That's why we run for office. We run for office because we want our community to be better and have a strong advocate, strong voice who fight. And one thing I think about this is transparency and communication. 2 things is I held high as a scientist. We have to have that. I hold that as my motive when I run for office, and I'll be your representative in Sacramento the same way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Ta and Candidate Nguyen.